Yeah. Cadence through the ceiling, it's the vibe you give and running through.
Hey everybody, what's going down? It's your girl Jerry Renee. You know I always got something to say, and today, oh my god, y'all, we have a legend in the building. I don't know if you ever heard my, or baby, baby, baby. Look, if you're not a 90s baby, you too young for this podcast right now. Give us the one, the only, Daryl L. Simmons. Woo!
How you guys doing?
How have you been?
I've been good, chilling.
Now
Yeah.
you got to tell me, starting off, is for those who don't know, there's Babyface, there's L.A. Reid, and then there's Daryl L. Simmons. You all have created the your own genre of R&B, because it wasn't until you all came along that R&B switched from a little bit of having a little funk to it to now we're going to incorporate a little bit of hip hop, that bass into it.
Yeah.
So was that a collective thinking, or were you guys just trying something out and it just stuck?
We were literally trying something out and it stuck, and we came up with a formula between the three of us, and we just rode it until we couldn't ride it anymore.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the wave, everybody rode that wave, and you all have created hits. I mean, as I said before, with Johnny Gill, Tony Braxton, Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, the list is just endless.
Yeah, it's a pretty good list, pretty lengthy list. I'm proud of it.
How
Yeah.
did you get started within this industry? Because I also know that you and Babyface were a part of a band back in the
Yeah,
day.
well, we grew up together. We're childhood friends. Our relationship is 50 plus years. Uh, I met him when I was 15. He was 14, and he played in a band. I played in a different band. I actually played in a band with his brother. He had a brother that played music, and I had heard about Kenny through different people, and I would ask his brother, I was like, well, we need a singer. I heard your brother could sing. And his brother was like, nah, we don't need no singer. We don't want to get him. So he kind of kept him away until just by chance, he walked up one day with some other guys, and I was breaking down my drum set, and I go, oh, so you're Kenny. I've heard a lot about you. And we hit it off, and he said, you should come join our band. I go, okay. So ever since then, we've been like this for 50 plus years. So yeah, we'll go back.
And you all had success with that band as well, correct?
Yeah, it was, it was just the normal local band, had a band. We were in high school, not making any money, just happy to let people let us play somewhere for free, play for food, play for whatever it was. We just wanted to play. Back then it was the way we grew up. It was bands on every corner, every street. Everybody had a band, a garage band. So, we're just looking for any place to play for free, just to show whatever it was we thought we had, at that time. Yes, it was good times growing up.
And you all well, not really broke up, but you all decided to grow into
Yeah,
who we know
absolutely.
now as
Right.
famous producers, famous songwriters, Grammy-award winning. I'm just gonna put that right
Yeah,
there.
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, we were writing songs as kids. I mean, I can't say how good the songs were, but as young kids, we wanted to write songs. And when I met Kenny, he was writing songs, and I was blown away by his talent. And, we just that's what we did. And we weren't playing anywhere. So our spare time was, in the summer, just writing songs, just walking around, walk to the store, get some candy, go back to my house, work on a song, go to his house, work on a song. So we started crafting songs at a very young age. I mean, very, very, 15 years old, 14, 16. And then eventually I bought a piano when I was 17. So I want to try to figure out how to write songs on the keyboard, because I played drums. And I bought this piano, an upright piano, and just started hacking out notes and coming up with little corny songs about girls. And, one thing led to another. And, eventually the songs got better, as we just kept at it. We never quit. I can tell you, we never stopped. We never got off of whatever the hell we were trying to do, whatever that dream was. We never stopped. That's all I can tell you.
What was it? Well, what was the first artist to have your song as a hit? And what was that feeling like to hear it on a worldwide scale?
Well, we eventually joined a club band called Manchild, and it was a local band, a really good local club band, and we did a couple of albums, and it wasn't a hit, but to hear the songs on the radio was a really good feeling. Just to know that you recorded something and it just came on the radio. That was just the greatest feeling. But Kenny, the first hit song, Kenny co-wrote for a group called Midnight Star. Midnight Star used to come to Indianapolis to play in the clubs, and we met them and became friends. And so we became really good friends with Melvin Gentry and Bo Watson. And so Kenny wrote a song with Bo Watson called Slow Jam. And that was the really first hit. I didn't write on it, but Kenny had written it with Bo, and it was a big hit. The album, I think, was double platinum. I don't know if it was No Parking on the Dance Floor album. I can't remember which album, and it was just Kenny got a gold record, and I was so excited. I'd never seen a real gold record before. We took it around to different people in the neighborhood and showed my mom and dad and showed so many people because, we were so proud and excited. So that was really the first real hit that came from our camp. Was Kenny co-wrote the song called Slow Jam. It was a big song for Midnight Star, great song. And after that, we ended up leaving Cincinnati, going to Los Angeles, and said, hey, we got to really try to see if we can make this thing happen. And we just started in. Literally just got them. They had an apartment. I was really kind of tagging along off of the group called The Deal. They were a group. I wasn't in The Deal, but I was a side musician, and I wrote songs and recorded with The Deal. I co-wrote songs.
Oh, that was the group that L.A. Reid was a part of at the time.
Yeah, L.A. Reid was the leader of that group. He was the leader of that band. And so we went to Los Angeles to say, hey, we're going to see if we can make this songwriting thing happen. And, we just stayed there and started cranking out songs. And I remember I had gone back to Cincinnati because things had gotten a little tough. And L.A. and Kenny stayed. And they had written this song called Rock Steady and for the Whispers. And so Kenny calls me, he says, hey, me and L.A. wrote this song for Rock Steady. It's a big hit. And they want to record a song that you wrote called In the Mood. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, so you need to come back to Los Angeles because I think something's getting ready to happen. They sent me a ticket, got on a plane, went back to Los Angeles. And he was right. When Rock Steady hit, the floodgates opened. It was unbelievable. In this apartment, it'd be like, they say, hey, this guy named James Ingram is coming by today. Listen to songs. I'm going, I heard of him. This girl named Paula Abdul is coming by to listen to songs. Like, okay. And it was Johnny Gill, Karen White. And all these people are coming by our little apartment. And I slept in the room with the equipment. I slept on the floor. So, when we had a meeting, I had to get up, of course. And, all these people would come in this little room where our equipment was. And, Kenny and I would sing the lyrics and give them the lyrics and be like, oh, okay, we like this. We want to record this. And like I said, it was a whirlwind. When it started, it snowballed. It was crazy. It was actually crazy. The way that when I think about it, when I go back and, we had a big dry erase board on the wall and LA was like, okay, this song is going to this person. This song is going to this person. We're going to keep this song for Kenny. This song is going to go to this person. And it was just this juggling of songs with all these people that wanted music, So we had a little factory going. I'd stay at the apartment, work on lyrics. L.A. and Kenny would produce. Me and Kenny would stay at the house and write a song. L.A. would go to the studio and produce. They'd send me down to work with Paula Abdul. Go down and work with Paula Abdul. I'm like, okay. Go down and work with the boys. Okay, I'll go work with the boys. So it was just this factory of music recording that it was nonstop. I actually don't know how we did all that we did.
That was that tenacity. That was that hunger.
It was. Yeah. And once we had a taste of it, we worked even harder. We never rested on what we had done. We would always say, okay, we have to outdo what we've done. Roll our sleeves up. We didn't rest on it. We enjoyed it for a minute. It was like, okay, let's get back to work,
What were some of your most fondest moments during that entire crazy time period?
You know, I used to tell Kenny that it was probably the funnest time. We weren't making a ton of money yet because royalties hadn't started to flow in, but it was so much fun working on music and not having any other worry in the world. Didn't have no wives, didn't have no kids, no responsibility. Every day, literally, we would wake up and work on music. And that was probably the most fun to this day in my career, even after making money. When you start getting there, it's like it's cool to make the money, but then it starts to become this business and you got to deal with these egos. But to
Yeah, the
work with,
analytics and
yeah, you know how it is.
everything.
But to work with unknown people or young people at the time who followed our guidance, whether it was Paula Abdul or it was meeting Bobby at a young age, working with the boys, Karen White, to take these people and give them our music, and then they take our music and make it even better and put themselves into it. That was just a great feeling as a songwriter to see your song come to life and then eventually become a hit. Then eventually, like you said, hear it on the radio, and all of a sudden we're being nominated. It's like, we're nominated? How did that happen? You know, so that was probably the greatest time. Those 5, 6 years we spent in Los Angeles before the Face was formed, that was probably the most fun because we probably did the most music back then during those years, because it was just a hustle, it was a grind. We kept grinding, don't get me wrong, but just that time period of working with the people that we worked with and making them happen, that was really a great feeling.
And then you have, like you said, the Grammys. The Grammys, like, you all have been nominated numerous of times. Even those artists with you all songs have been
Oh
nominated
yeah, they won
won
way
those.
more. I always say that the songwriter gets cheated so bad. Like Tony Braxton's first album, I think she won 4 Grammys and we won
Y'all didn't,
0.
but thing is, I thought that everyone gets a Grammy who contributes
No,
a song.
no. Everybody thinks I have like a ton of Grammys. I got like 2. But the people that have won Grammys off of us, oh, it's endless. Like I said, Tony's first album, she won 4. The list goes on. Tony Braxton, TLC, the songs that we created for people won, which is cool to know that you were a part of it. But I always feel like the songwriter gets really slighted because to me, it starts with the song. Without the song, what do you have? So I guess I'm a little bitter about it, but it's cool. I know what I've done, so it's all good. My name is there, and so it's all good.
And what about the from the Whispers to Bobby Brown's earlier years to Whitney Houston and her the well, I mean, she never really had a downside to her career, but the peak of her career, TLC, when they're emerging, they're coming about in all these different groups, but yet still there's a growth between music, right?
Yes. Yeah,
How
absolutely.
were you able to have that suitability for each of these artists in these different brackets in a sense?
You know what? We did what we did. We never like we listened to what Jimmy and Terry were doing, and we thought they were great. And of course, Teddy was doing New Jack Swing. So I think even between our 3 camps, we all held our guns. We admired what each other were doing, but we didn't copy. If anything, we were inspired to work harder. So what's Jimmy and Terry doing? Oh man, we got to try to outdo that. What's Teddy doing? He's doing this. We got to try to outdo that. But we always stuck to our guns. We didn't change what we did. Of course, we would add new sounds. We would hear about sounds, but what our style was, because that's what people wanted. That's what they came to us for. So we just kept doing what we were doing, you know, and it worked for a very long time, you know. And
How
even when I broke off on my own, I still instill those same ways that I learned from Kenny. My writing, my producing, I'd be, oh, what would Kenny say? Would Kenny do this? Would Kenny do that? I would always reference back to those things that I learned with Kenny. You know what I'm saying? Even when anything I did Drew Hill, I did, several things on my own. And I always instilled the way that I learned from Kenny because I learned from him. I came up under them. sitting on the couch watching what they were doing. So it's just something that we stuck to, and we just never wavered. We just kept doing it, trying to make it better, of course, but
Yeah.
we liked what we were doing, put a lot of time into lyrics, melody. Kenny is the melody king. We'll come up with these amazing melodies. And I mean, always trying to make a great song. That was always the goal,
Where did you all draw your inspirations from for each of these artists regarding
some things people would say. Sometimes we would talk to an artist. It may be something that they're going through. But we had a lot of thoughts as songwriters. We just did. We just had a lot of thoughts in our head about songs and stories, and and then you depend on the artist to bring themselves into it, and they may say something or do something that may inspire you. So yeah, it could be a phrase that somebody may say, go, oh wow, like my was written inspired by this girl that lived in the apartment building that we lived in.
Did y'all shoot y'all shot though? Because
I'm sorry.
Did you shoot your shot, as the young kids say? Basically, did you like go up there and talk to her? Because
no, that's what I'm saying. Let me tell you, we would see her in passing. Hey, how you doing? She was very shy. We never knew her name, and so one day, me and Kenny had the track, and we were working on it for Johnny. We're sitting in his car in the garage. Says, we got to get this. We got to get this. So this girl comes again, and we see her, and we wave, and she had long black hair. She had on red lipstick. From the back, she was like a 10. From the front, nah, I give her a 5. But we said, slide on that lipstick, let all your hair down. And we'd see her from the back, we would say, my. But from the front, but not so much. So that's actually, Amy Kenny said not long ago, that girl has no idea that she inspired my. We never knew her name, never introduced ourselves, but she was the inspiration for my. That was drawn from her. Seeing her with her long black hair, her red lipstick. We got it from that. And from there, just crafted a story about put on your nightgown, let all your hair down, some of that sweet perfume. We just embellished it from there. And Johnny was the perfect person. He was so perfect to bring that song to life. So perfect. Perfect.
He sung it. He sung that song like the bills were due. Do you hear?
Yeah, and he was young when he sang it, so it was a very mature song. If you think about the lyric, and Johnny was young at that time, but he was known. The problem with Johnny was that he was this young kid who had a grown man voice, and that's why he never happened, because he started with Stacey Lattisaw, and they had sort of a mediocre hit. But the problem was that you had this young kid with a grown man voice. And the two of them, my, and Johnny Gill, it was such a perfect match. It was so perfect, and he made it his. He made it what it is. You know what I mean? That's a case where that artist came in and put his stamp all over it, all over it. Yeah.
You know who else sung it like the light bills were due ASAP? Tony. I got to give it to Tony. That girl right there.
Yeah, Tony's actually my favorite person to record. My favorite voice to record is Tony, because Tony has a way of interpreting our songs. It's just like, it's so magical the way she will turn a melody or turn a lyric with her Tony style. And I just enjoy hearing her voice coming through the speakers. It's just like one of my favorite songs is You Mean the World to Me, because I think she just sang it. A lot of them she did, Another Sad Love Song, Breathe Again, 7 Whole Days. But for me, it was just You Mean the World to Me is my favorite Toni Braxton song. Yeah.
Especially when she draws out that, baby.
Yep.
So much.
That's Tony. Yep. That's Tony. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Those things that Tony brought to the songs were just take them. And that's what we're waiting for. Take it to another level. Yeah, put your thing on it. Give me something. Give me something more than the simple melody that we sang. And that's what Tony was amazing at doing that. Amazing at doing it. My favorite voice to record is Toni Braxton.
It's like velvet, to be honest, with the dash
Yeah,
of church. Like, oh,
yeah.
but
She,
like, oh my
to
God,
me, she's like the Black Barbara Streisand to me. That's what I think of her. She's like the
I
Black
like
Barbara
that.
Streisand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
said
like
that
that.
years when we first started work. I said she's like the Black Barbara Streisand. Just like you said, so eloquent, so silky, all those things, all those things, feeling, emotion, all of it. You're right. That's Toni Braxton. Absolutely.
Tell me your experience with Bobby Brown earlier. Bobby
Say
Brown.
that again.
Tell me about your experience with Bobby Brown in his
Bobby
earlier.
Brown. We were working in a studio in Silver Lake, and we were working. I don't know if we were working with the boys or Karen White, and he had gotten kicked out of New Edition. And I don't know who called. I think Lowell Silas at the time called it from NCA. Hey, we want y'all to work with Bobby, and where y'all at? We want y'all to meet him. He's gonna come out the studio. And we were like, okay. So this kid comes in, bouncing off the walls, energy's on 1500. It was his birthday that day, 21 years old, and he was just all over the place. And I remember saying when he walked out the door, I said, that kid will not live to be 30. I remember saying that. I said, he will not live to be 30. This dude is buck wild. But what it was all of that energy he put into those songs. Don't Be Cruel was tailored for Bobby Brown because he was cruel. He was a badass boy. And Don't Be Cruel, once again, Don't Be Cruel was the perfect come out single for Bobby. And then Teddy came with My Prerogative that was even nastier.
I ain't
You
gonna lie,
know,
growing up, that I shouldn't have been singing that song, but I was definitely singing that song.
and what I loved about Bobby, and I tell people, it's not the singing business, it's the entertainment business. Because there are a lot of people that sing great that don't happen, a lot of people that are mediocre that happen big. It's not the singing business. And Bobby Brown, I use as my example because he was not a great singer by any stretch, but what he was a great entertainer and performer. And he could perform those songs with so much energy, like Don't Be Cruel and My Prerogative and Rock With You, every little step, with so much damn attitude. He's like, I'll take it. Yeah, that note's a little flat. Yep, that note's a little sharp. But he put so much energy into it and feeling. I'll take it all day long. I'll take it all day
Because
long.
the same energy he had in the music videos was the same energy he had on stage. And I
There
was
you go.
like,
There you go.
dang.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. Full of energy, just busting with energy. And he put that into his performances and into his records. Every record he did. That's what we loved about Bobby, you know. And he was a hard worker. He was a hard worker. You know, once we got him there, took a minute to get him there. But once he got there and I could lock him down, that boy, he worked hard. He worked really hard in his career. People love Bobby Brown. People love Bobby Brown, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I ain't gonna front. I love me some Bobby.
There
Love
you
me some
go.
Bobby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the best records, I think. Another one of my favorite songs is Rock With You, because he just took it and was like, wow, okay.
You know what?
You know what I
You're
mean?
right, because just like Tony, how she sang her heart out on the end
Yep.
of Baby, he sung his heart out.
Yes, he did.
Like towards, I'm gonna say the second chorus when he came
Hmm.
out. Just I was like, dang.
Even at the end, even in the vamp, he just, like I said, he put heart and soul into those songs. He brought just as much to it as we brought to it. And
And
that's the combination of making a great record.
the crazy thing is, you can actually see him perform it. Like if you have never seen Bobby Brown perform it, when you listen to the song, you can still see him perform it.
The first time I heard it, we were in Hawaii on vacation, and Kenny's like, well, Bobby's in Honolulu. He's having a show. I was like, he said, we should go. And so we get on a plane. I forget where we were. And then we went to Honolulu, and we're standing on the side of the stage. And when he sang Rock With You, and that stadium started singing, I mean, the hairs on my arms stood up. I could not believe that the whole stadium was singing a lyric that we had written like that. I was like, this is incredible. That feeling was incredible to me. I said, wow, they're singing something that I wrote, a lyric that I wrote. I mean, it was the most amazing feeling to me, and he was at that peak where it was, Bobby was big. I tell people,
Yeah.
Usher's big, Bobby was big,
Especially when
you
you had
know.
the Gumby haircut.
Yeah, the Gumby hairstyle, and I could not believe it. Then that's the first time I heard him singing in concert. I couldn't even hear him because the whole stadium was singing it, and that was just the most incredible feeling to me. To know that you started with this little idea in a room with nothing, and then here's a stadium full of people singing it, singing that idea. For a songwriter, to me, that's the feeling. That's what we live for. I don't have to be on stage. I don't want to be in no video. I don't want to be on tour. I want to hear people sing something that I wrote. I love pulling up in a car and sitting next to a person and they're singing Into the Road to the top of their lungs. I just look over.
Oh man. Oh, I was just about
I just
to
go,
get to that.
I go, that's kind of cool. You hear somebody top of their lungs just singing it. Like that's a cool feeling.
Like
really
anybody
cool
could
feeling.
sing that to somebody and they would just start crying. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you hear "We Belong Together," be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
it's over.
That's it. There it
It's
is.
over. So yeah, I love that feeling. They don't have to know it's me. I know what I've done, but to hear them singing something, like I said, that created from nothing, walking in a room saying, okay, we got to come up with something. And then that's the end result. And then somebody's singing that. It's like, that's incredible to me. That's really incredible.
Now you also put out, I believe, a Christmas album. Talk to me about that and the choice to create a Christmas album.
Well, I've always loved Christmas music. Growing up as a kid, I've always loved Christmas music. So probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, every Christmas, my kids would say, hey, you got to learn the Christmas songs. And I would learn all the standard Christmas songs and play, and they would whatever. But in the midst of that, I would come up with an idea on my own. I said, wow, this will be a cool Christmas song. And I just kind of tucked the ideas away till a couple of years ago. I think I had about 3, maybe 4 songs. So I started to record them as demos. And so I said, wow, you know what? What am I going to do with it? I said, I'm going to do like a Quincy Jones type album. Since I don't sing, I'm going to get people to sing my Christmas songs. So I started off with a big list: Tony Braxton, Johnny Gill, Tevin Campbell, Babyface, After 7. And my daughter says, that'll take you 10 years to get that done. I go, yeah, you know what? With all their schedules and egos and whatever. So what I did was I went back and used people that had sang on a lot of records I had recorded. Like one girl named Tan Smith has sung on Deborah Cox, Tamia, she sang on Aretha Franklin. So I got her to sing. So then I just started going through other people that I've used before on demos or either records that I've made and gave them an opportunity to sing lead and to shine. So that's kind of like how it came about. It's also my final product of my career. From that point, I was like, I'm retired, I'm done. And I've never done a whole album myself. I've worked on albums, but I've never produced a complete album. And I always admired Kenny for doing Exhale. I thought he did an amazing job. And I always said, man, one day I'd like to see if I could produce and write all the songs on an album. And so that Christmas album is my final body of work that I produced and wrote with some other people too. But so that's how it really came about. I'm really proud of it. And they're all original songs. There's no cover songs, all original songs. So I'm really proud of it. So each year we'll put it out. We'll put out a single. We'll repackage something, but I'm really proud of it. It did very well this past Christmas. It did really well, proud of it.
What advice do you have for up and coming producers or astonishing not soundwriters, but songwriters who may need to find that motivation and that drive to keep going?
Well, you have to keep writing because everything that you write is not good. Everything that we wrote, we had a lot of failures, but our successes outweighed those failures. But we had a lot of failures, things that didn't work. you know, and Kenny always said, you have to go through the failures to get to the successes. You know, you have to, because it's not that easy. You know, you keep working on it and keep working on it. And that's the first thing I say is just because you wrote it doesn't mean that it's any good. You know, when I go to seminars and people go, oh, I got 100 songs. And I go, okay, well, I go, half of them ain't no good. They look at me crazy, you know, and I'll say, do you know how many songs I have? They go, oh, you probably got thousands of songs. I go, right now, I probably have 3 songs that I'm working on. And out of those 3 songs, only one of them is the real song because everything else gets eliminated. So I told that guy, take your 100, cut it in half to 50, put that 50 to 25, give me your top 10, and then pick out your best 5. And out of those 5, you may have one great idea because that's the law of averages. You know, everything that we write is not good. It's okay, but you can't be married to it. You can't let your mama hear it. You can't let your brother hear it because they're going to be like, ooh, that's so good. No, you got to let a stranger say, hey, check out this song somebody gave me. What you think? Oh, that sucks. Okay, thank you. You know, you want the truth. You know, you want to, that's how you get better is you want people to tell you the truth and you have to keep grinding at it until you find it. You know, that's my advice. That's the way that we came up, you know, and you just keep working on it. That's all I can tell you. Like I say, if you do anything long enough, you get good at it. You know, like I said, we started at a very young age and we never stopped. So eventually we had to get good at it. You know, I didn't know we'd get that good, but you know, we had to get good at it, you know. And
Kenny didn't know you'd get that good.
Yeah, and Kenny's incredible. He's the greatest to me. He spits it out. I mean, he can, you know, and he's been that way for years, you know, and I drew inspiration from that and the work ethic and, you know, because when I met him, I thought I had a little talent. When I met him, I was, wow, that dude's talented. I got to really work hard, but that dude right there, he's really talented, you know? So, like they say, sometimes you may not have the most talent, but you have to kind of outwork people. And I feel like that was me. I didn't have great talent, but I had a great work ethic to keep working at it, you know? And so, you know, he was the greatest mentor to be around, you know, to sit in the room, to write songs with him and let it just kind of rub off on me, a little bit of it, you know what I mean? But yeah, you got to keep going on it. You don't quit. And that's what I learned from Kenny. He will not quit on a song. He thinks it's great. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, play it. You remember the melody? I go, yep. If I don't remember the melody, he goes, okay, let's start on something else. I'm like, okay. You know, so you got to keep grinding on it. If you believe in it, keep grinding on it, you know.
Are you open to listening to new and upcoming artists from this era, or are you just like, hey, yo, I'm just chilling?
I'm chilling. I'm done.
Okay.
You know, I'm done. I don't have the excitement. I don't have the whatever that was, you know. I feel like, you know, I had my time and I did some really good things, and I don't ever want to make an attempt at it. I don't want to appear to be the old guy trying to hang on, you know. So that's why the Christmas album was a great ending for my career and for me to say, okay, I've done some stuff. Okay, I've had a pretty good career. Let me just kind of shut it down. You know, I tell people
Pretty good career. No, sir. No, sir.
yeah, been pretty good. You know, I tell people I'm
awesome.
retired. I'm retired until Kenny calls.
Kenny, I'm sorry.